Banking for trouble. Lance, stop calling me Dad. I am in hiding, call me great-granddad, moaned time traveler Fred Alexander to his son Lance, who had called him his dad, to a waiter in the cafe they were in. No one believes you're my dad either. We look the same age. Laughed Lance Alexander, who looked like Fred's twin. Well, I'm in hiding, said Fred shortly. I know I hid you in the past, said Lance. I hoped you had a happy life where you were unknown. I didn't expect you to come back as my own great-granddad. I didn't die, said the near-immortal magician, who like all his race didn't age beyond 25 years old like his son. You die all the time, Dad. You die every time you turn into a Grim Reaper. You come back to life more than a lithium battery. Snapped back the son. His father was the former king of the Grim Reapers. Lance was the new one. At least I don't die and become a homicidal maniac, said Fred. Lance glared at him. No, my mistake, you are a homicidal maniac. The angel of death is just as bad as you, said Fred. Who are the young men having a staring contest? A middle-aged waitress asked the waiter. Blake Alexander, the stage magician, and his son Lance are just arguing again. They come here on this day every week. Now the magician is calling himself Fred Alexander, nothing new, said the waiter offhandedly to the new waitress. Why aren't they talking if they are arguing? Asked the waitress. They are psychics, they read minds, said the waiter. Oh, said the waitress. Look, they leave like clockwork, they leave at 12:30 exactly as always, said the waiter, watching them pay for their food and leave the restaurant. Fred and Lance wandered out into the street and walked till they came to a bank, and Fred asked if he could go to the bank for a moment. Lance thought he'd rather not, but said, okay, if it won't take long. It won't, said Fred, smiling charmingly. They went into the bank. They stood in line to see the teller. Lance grew impatient, the line was long. This better be worth the wait, he grumbled aloud. It is, I'm paying money off a loan, said Fred. 10 minutes later. Are we there yet? Asked Lance rhetorically. They were the next in line. Shut up, boy, moaned Fred, fed up with Lance's complaining. 4 minutes later, they got to the teller. Finally, said Lance. Fred glared at him. What do you want? Asked the teller. Fred put $1,000 on the desk. All your money, said a voice behind them. What? Asked Fred, puzzled. He turned around and saw a man with a gun. You don't want to do this, mate, said Lance. Shut up, boy, he has a gun, you aren't bulletproof, moaned Fred. Well, he won't, said Lance. Listen to your brother, he's right, said the gunman. Tie him up, said the gunman, throwing rope at Fred. If you say so, said Fred, tying Lance up, wishing it would hold him. He knew it wouldn't. Lance broke free of the ropes. No, don't, said Fred. Lance stood up and ran up to the gunman. Drop the gun, and I won't hurt you, said Lance. The spooked gunman shot Lance in the shoulder. Fred ran up to him. Lance, you incompetent fool, how many times must I tell you don't fight with men with guns, said Fred. The gunman looked confused at Fred and Lance. Listen to your brother, said the gunman. Gramps, complained Lance. Huh? Said the puzzled thief. Never mind, you won't believe it, said Fred, frowning at Lance. Are there any doctors here? Asked the gunman of the people in the bank. I was a doctor, admitted Fred. Who was 100 years before Blake? You were, why stop? Asked the thief as he tried to get money from the teller. His patients were dead, said Lance. You killed your patients? Asked the thief. No, I was a coroner, Fred said irritably. Oh, said the thief. The teller was stubborn. She was behind a bulletproof screen, and her coworkers were panicking. Come on, give me the money, said the gunman. Are you serious? Asked the teller. I have a gun, how serious do I look? Asked the gunman seriously. Fred was examining Lance's arm. How is he? Will he die? Asked the teller. He will die, Fred said. I didn't want to hurt anyone?" said the gunman, thinking he killed a man. "He was just winged," said Fred. "You are lucky he isn't dying, he's bad to the bone as a dead man." "Is he a vampire?" asked the teller, hoping he couldn't get her behind the glass. "No," said Lance. Lance was the king of the Grim Reapers, called the Necromancer, who was seen as a serial killer by the police. In death, he was fated to be the Angel of Death. A killer more deadly than Lance ever was. "He's worse," said Fred. The gunman trained his gun on Lance. "Thanks, Dad," said the irritable Lance. "Necromancer, don't call me Dad," moaned Fred. "I know what you are doing, Dad. You just want to sick me on him. To get your money back," Lance snapped defiantly. "Get him yourself, Lone Ranger." "I am not. I thought you'd want to stop him yourself. You're the cowboy," snapped Fred. "Cowboy me?" snapped Lance, offended. The gun melted in the hand of the gunman to water. "What's going on?" cried the gunman. "Your turn," said Lance. "Who?" asked the gunman. He was not sure what was going on. Moments later, the gunman found himself wrapped up in a straitjacket. "Okay, I get it now. Where is the magician?" asked the gunman. In the bank ran policemen with guns. "Time to go, Gramps," said the necromancer. "I want my money," said Fred. "You would," huffed Lance. The Fred and he disappeared into thin air. "Who were they?" asked the gunman. "The King of the Earth and the Necromancer," replied one of the policemen. The spooked, trapped thief looked horrified. He had got off easy and remembered the king, Fred, calling his brother the Necromancer. He feared the revenge of the killer. He begged to be arrested and go to jail, where he'd be safe.
Between disaster and danger, we could get someone killed or worse.